All right, so we got some news. I know you see the title of the video, and I know you see what's happening out there in the world. We got some news about Toyotaro making his own series. It's an original series by Toyotaro, supposedly. Now, I don't know exactly what it's going to be about. Nobody knows what it's going to be about, but we found out it from this page. This guy who speaks French, he translated the page. I was just trying to translate for you. But it's basically saying that he speaks to Toriyama about his latest project of an original manga. Okay. Now, what does this mean exactly? It can mean a multitude of things. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you guys are just making this all about nothing." This just means that Toyotaro's gonna be doing another Dragon Ball. No, it doesn't actually. If it's an original series, then that specifically means that he is making an entirely new IP. It's not an extension of an old IP. He's not doing Dragon Ball Plus or anything else, whatever the fuck else you can call it. This is a new thing he's doing, and we're gonna hear them talk about it on the panel on the date you see here, July 6th, okay? Kazuhiko Toriyama was a Dragon Ball editor. If you don't know who he is, I'll dive into him really quickly. Okay, the show Bakuman, about two manga artists that want to make it big and all that. They parody a lot of different people in the industry, and they drew him almost one-to-one, as you can see, right? That's just kind of funny. But he's basically Toriyama's right-hand man, bro. He was there the whole time. Okay, Toriyama has a quote about him right here, as you can see on the Dragon Ball fan site. He's a guy who does not hide anything. And this also means he says whatever he feels like saying. I think we are suited for each other. People who hold things are in hard for me. Okay, no, I read that wrong. People who hold things in are hard for me to figure out. So I would not be able to work with someone like that. So he's able to work with this dude because he's like, the type of person. A lot of people don't like these type of people anyway. You just say what you think and feel, and you're not really hiding shit, right? You're being honest with your expression. So he's not holding anything back working with Toriyama. They also had this controversy, which if you are familiar with the Daizenshu, and they also have the website, the Dragon Ball website over here, the Kanzenshu website, which I have bookmarked up here for some old shit I was looking at. But it kind of data mines and has a log of all the Dragon Ball history and data and interviews and all that sort of information from since it's been starting around this time and shit, right? Even further back, right? So I say all that to say, we even have quotes like this where when Toriyama wanted Goku to grow up, basically, he was getting nervous. They almost argued. They were argued about it. He finally let Toriyama do it. They basically have a long history. You can read this stuff on your own. It's kind of interesting if you want to learn a little bit more about why some things are the way they are and what hand Toriyama had in certain things and all that. Like this dude, by the way, Toriyama, he's not working for Shueisha anymore. He's working for what is it, the Bushido something, the Samurai something, I forget what it's called, but that's neither here or there. So I just wanted to make this quick video talking about the news because we know Toyotaro has a lot of controversy about him, right? And a lot of that controversy stems from not only his succession of Dragon Ball, which people ended up being okay with because the creator himself picked the man, but there's still that underlying problem you have with him on the artist level, because especially if you're a person who like enjoys the manga because you're maybe an artist, or you like to you like the artist side of it, you like the artistic side of it, and you respect that a lot. Toyotaro early on was very heavily copying a lot of things and would be called out for tracing things, but I wouldn't say he traced, but he definitely copied a lot of things and just mimicked poses and didn't come up with his own ideas for a lot of things. And we can kind of see that prevalent now later in Dragon Ball Super's life. I wish I had screenshots up to paint the picture better. That's why video editing is better. But Toyotaro would copy basically separate panels of old Toriyama stuff, right? So he wouldn't come up with his own ideas, basically. and you know, they have different pictures of him kind of copying, and they say tracing, you know, but this is for his like his fan manga right here, right? One of these I think is for his fan manga. That's old stuff. They say he traced in the past, right? So that's a part of his early history of them saying he's tracing. And you look at something that's not as old in his fan manga, this is actually in the Dragon Ball Super manga series. And it's still under the category of Toyotaro tracing. But the whole idea is the fact that he doesn't come up with his own unique ideas when making these panels. He copies a lot and he mimics. And as far as certain things being a callback and a reference, that's fine, because this is definitely not traced. This is Toriyama's original, you know, albeit it's colored and all that, right? And then this is Toyotaro's later mimicry of that, and stuff like that is fine, I would say, because, you know, it's like a reference, it's a callback, and it's staying in line, because this is how they pose up, you know. And if they're fighting in a time chamber, I would imagine they would pose up the same way they always do, right? This right here, just not being unique, I can understand that, because, you know, he's just mimicking Toriyama's depiction of an evil dude, right? It's like, I don't know, you know, we can go on all day about it, right? There's more and more examples of it being more prevalent later on in Dragon Ball Super's manga, with him having other fights and characters. He's just, sometimes he lacks that creativity that he maybe should have. Toriyama's even told him, you got to be more free and relaxed with it. But I'm not here to rant about how bad Toyotaro is. I'm here to just bring up that question, man. Like, what do y'all expect? If he's doing his own IP, right? If he already had freedom with Dragon Ball, and you can say he's limited because he has to make things Dragon Ball still. He has to work within Dragon Ball's world, right? He has to make things still align with how they would be in Dragon Ball. But stuff like this is what deters people from thinking he has any creativity, because again and again he'll mimic things and poses, and it's not just for reference. He'll put this in his official work, poses and shit that he has more or less mimicked, and people will say he's even traced with, like, you know, putting the picture 1-to-1 over the other picture, right? So they'll dissect it that way and say this is basically traced. And maybe you can say they're going too hard. Maybe it's justified, right? Maybe it's justified. Maybe they can say they're going too hard. I'd say his art style has evolved, and I have noticed his kind of mimicry of Toriyama's old panel work and sort of actions on screen, right? He likes to mimic that sort of stuff a lot. It's like he can't alone. It's like him alone. He can't think of a different way or his own way to express what Dragon Ball should look like. And when he does do his own thing, sometimes it looks very good. Sometimes I don't think it looks that good, but that's neither here or there. That's opinion, all right? That's opinion. That's preference and opinion at the end of the day, because we have covers that came out. Well, like with the Full Power Squad, okay, that cover came out, very popular. Everybody loved it. Some people hated it because they try to say it's not Dragon Ball anatomy per se. But when he's making his own work, these type of, my whole point in ranting about that is, when he makes his own work, these types of arguments can no longer be made. The direct comparison to Toriyama. So I've seen people making the gifs of, like, Kratos releasing the bandages from his arms, saying that Toyotaro's free from the Dragon Ball curse. And I understand it, because it means that he doesn't have to be put in Toriyama's shadow 100% all the time. But it also means that his work can be judged rawly for what 100% he's doing, right? That's a double-edged sword, because now if he's not good enough in any way, shape, or form, that's going to be called out. People are going to talk shit about him, right? So on and so forth. So he'll never fully escape the criticism, even if he eventually makes a series that is interesting, because it's probably going to be Dragon Ball, have Dragon Ball influences and inspiration, no doubt. I doubt we can get a series out of him without that. Not to say he's that limited, but it's like, come on, this is what he's been doing. This is how he got picked up. But that's just me talking. That's speculation. Maybe he'll surprise us all, and he'll have a super amazing story, and it won't have to feel like Dragon Ball for it to be good, right? Well, we'll have to see. That's the double-edged sword I'm talking about. He broke away from the restraints of being looked at as just I'm making Dragon Ball, whether or not he's making Dragon Ball the correct way or not. But now he's making his own thing, so that's giving him more freedom, and it's giving him the ability to be received in his own light, 100%, if that makes sense, right? But with that, it also comes him having to do all the work. It's all on his shoulders, on his back. There is no Goku, Vegeta, no pre-existing characters or connection with this world or anything else in it that can redeem it. So when certain things are bad, if, like I said, like I feel like a little bit of the action is flat, or this panel was flat, there's still that redeeming factor that I'm reading Dragon Ball. I'm reading the Dragon Ball manga. It's still happening. This is official. I'm seeing new characters. I'm seeing new enemies. That enough alone, it can suffice and sustain a lot of people who like Dragon Ball. But once he no longer has that side of things and it's just him, of course, whatever manga he's gonna make is gonna have a lot of eyes on it already. So he still has the Dragon Ball boost back in him, inevitably, whether he likes it or not at the end of the day. Because if he released this manga on his own, whatever he's gonna make, if he released his own IP or his own creation, outside of it being, because all of his works previous have been Dragon Ball fan creations. He's had Dragon Ball AF, he has the Dragon Ball Zero, he was Toyo Boy. So he has been doing Dragon Ball stuff forever. That's how he got his name up. That's how he got picked to be the successor for Toriyama by Toriyama himself. And he's going to continue to do that. And now he's going to make his own thing. If he made his own thing back then, it's not going to have the same amount of eyes on it as the thing he's about to make is now, if that makes sense, because he's already established himself even further as an official mangaka, and he's done all the things we've been doing for the past couple of years. He's been carrying Dragon Ball Super, his identity and how it looks, for the past, I don't even know, 10 years, I think, right? Probably a little longer than that, but he's been doing it, and whether you like him or not, he has been doing it. Toriyama picked him, and everything he does is not completely bad. His writing, personally, and his writing itself might not be the best in a lot of ways. I feel like some of it's subjective. A lot of it's subjective. Some of it's objective, right? Some of it's objective. Some of it's not really, just an opinion. Some of it's like, okay, yeah, this is just bad. And some of it is like, okay, a lot of times, a lot of people criticize him left and right in this opinion. So, again, I say all that to say, I'm interested in seeing what he releases. He's no longer restrained, and like people say, the curse of Dragon Ball. It's not really a curse, but yeah, he's not limited by Dragon Ball, but that also means the world is so open wide for him now. There's no ground to stand on anymore. Not as much. He still has hands pushing him up. Dragon Ball, it's going to make his manga be seen by a lot of people, but since he's on that big spotlight, he has to perform well. He no longer has the stage play of Dragon Ball backing him up. He's no longer an actor in the Dragon Ball stage play. The stage is all for him now. This is all, whatever he drops, this is his stage now. Lights, cameras, action, he has to go out there, and all the lights are on him, all the eyes are on him, and if he fucks up and he does bad, if he does the bad writing that he's been doing all the time in Dragon Ball, but there is no Dragon Ball to support that bad writing to make it seem, okay, well, at least we got this, or whatever, that redeeming thing I was talking about, and it's raw. We're getting raw Toyotaro. We're getting Toyotaro butt naked. Okay? He's just standing there, and it's just him. No Dragon Ball, okay? It's just Toyotaro. We're gonna have to see what he can do. Of course, like I said, Dragon Ball is in his DNA. It's behind him. So you can expect a lot of maybe even references and a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for, inspiration from Dragon Ball. Hopefully it doesn't lead up to him mimicking and copying panels and shit like that, and events and plot points and story beats and character development points and character progression strings. Hopefully he doesn't try to like copy all that sort of shit and villain archetypes and character archetypes. Hopefully he doesn't copy all that from Dragon Ball and different points in Dragon Ball and just try to use it in a different gumbo. I hope he doesn't do that, because that's the thing I think a lot of people feel will just happen easily because this is his work 100%, unless we find out he has a, you know, obviously he's gonna have an editor, but this is his work. He's not going through somebody else like Toriyama, who's not just editing but like overseeing what he's doing and has the okay and still has to say so, you know. So we'll find out what happens. Let's see how the art looks. He has to make his own characters. He no longer has a framework to work with as far as solid as he had with Dragon Ball. Okay, he still has a framework because he knows what he's doing. He's made plenty of manga, you know, he's worked on Dragon Ball. He has that background, like I said, but the framework as far as like what already has been, what already exists, what we already know to be Goku or Dragon Ball, that's gone. Whatever he's making, Toyo Ball, Toyo Z, whatever the fuck he's gonna do, we're gonna have to find out what it is, how it hits. But I'm out.